Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me yet again today. My name is Ken, and for those of you who have been following along for quite a while, you know that I have been working on a 1-ton axle swap on my 2010 Toyota FJ Cruiser. It's been a long road, and today we're going to take a look back at that long road. So back somewhere in the middle of 2020, I got this idea that I wanted to do a solid axle swap on my FJ Cruiser, and I really had no idea exactly what direction I wanted to go, but I knew I wanted to have bigger tires and I wanted to lose the fragile independent front suspension. And I really had no idea what doing an axle swap would involve. I didn't have the tools, and I didn't actually have many of the skills to make it happen. So I actually figured initially that I would be paying somebody else to do all the work of the axle swap, but things evolved and I decided to just make it a DIY project in my own garage. So at the end of 2020, I started gathering parts. In December, I started ordering things. I ordered tires and wheels, and I actually ordered a parts kit, supposedly, from a company called Rock Solid Toys. They were based in Southern California. They've gone out of business. They scammed me out of $10,000, and so they're no longer in business. So that kind of got things off to a rocky start in the build. I was actually going to start the build in January of 2021, and all that got pushed back to April because I was waiting for parts that never came, and yeah. Just kind of rough. So April rolled around and I finally had all the parts that I needed to start the build. And I decided to do it myself and invest money I was going to spend on labor into tools to do the work. Now, as many of you know, the build has taken me a lot longer than I had initially expected it to. You know, when I first started on this, I naively thought, oh, this will probably take me a few weeks, a month tops, which now, looking back, I know was completely ridiculous. So here I am, about 7 months after rolling the FJ into the garage, and the big reveal is coming up. So sit back and relax and watch the journey unfold in this relatively short video. I'm going to be putting 1-ton axles under my FJ Cruiser. 2 junkyard axles cleaned up and ready for rebuilding. The Sterling 10.5 and the Dana 60 turned out pretty nice. Wheels and tires, past and future. Huh? Come on. Today is the day I start deconstructing my 2010 FJ Cruiser so that I can get started on my solid axle swap project for real. Now that I'm into it, there's definitely more interior things that needed to be done than I had previously visualized. Can a guy with no welding experience put a truss on an axle? But here it is, and I'm pretty happy with the results. Last time we put a truss on the Sterling 10.5. Today, it's the Dana 60's turn. This cooled down overnight, and I don't have any cracks here in any of the cast or in the welds, so I'm pretty happy with that. Totally satisfied. I'm going to start the process of getting this Atlas transfer case installed. It turns out that if you're installing an Atlas into a Toyota, whether it be an FJ Cruiser, a Tacoma, or a 4Runner, there are some special things that you need to do. If you're doing a setup for a Toyota, this is totally wrong. Alright guys, after a whole lot of fighting and figuring out, that is the cable set up. And I believe, I don't know, I'm probably 97% sure it's all right. Well, I wanted to try avoid cutting the floor, but looks like I'm gonna have to cut the floor a little bit. All right, guys, let's just say that getting an Atlas into an FJ Cruiser is not easy. This is what it looks like in here. All right, so it's in here, sort of. And the good news is that, you know, everything shifts. It's pretty cool. And today I am going to be attempting to install these high steer arms onto these Ford Super Duty Dana 60 steering knuckles. All in all, I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. Today, I am going to be fabricating a new cross member underneath that will support the transmission and the Atlas transfer case. I've got this big sheet of 3/8 steel, some 2x4 by 1/4 inch wall rectangular tubing. I've got from TMR Customs this Atlas support. This is what goes on the back of the Atlas. There we go. Isn't it a thing of beauty? That support in the back really just adds a nice finished look to the Atlas, I think. All right, so I've got the axle wrestled underneath the vehicle. I've got my plumb bob down there for the center line. I've got my plumb bob down there on the ground on my line for my wheelbase. Can't forget to take these front shock towers off. Just that easy. All right, so now I've got plenty of room to put some plating up here. So I took some cardboard and cut myself out a pattern. And there's about what it'll look like right there. All right, you can see what's happening here. This 3/16 plate being welded from the frame down to the bracket. The bracket's already welded on. It's gonna be pretty much invincible. I'll call that sloppy but sturdy welding. It's strong. Judging by the hand test, I can't shake it, so it must be solid enough. All right, guys, well, as you can see, I cut out some cardboard and I've got a pattern. All right, 1, 2, 3 links linked. I'm pretty excited. That is awesome to see. And there it is, installed. The rear bumper, super high clearance. You can see that this one is actually higher than the frame itself. So this is the factory oil filter housing that comes on Toyota FJ Cruisers 2010 and forward. So what I have is this super simple adapter that's going to allow lines to run off of the front of the engine. So it's going to bolt on like that, and then lines can come off of that and go to a remote oil filter location. Okay, got my secondary frame boxes welded in there. Here it is. The coils aren't on yet because if they were, the axle would have to be much lower. The 3 links are in, driver's side, passenger side, upper link. So we're off to a good start here. So we started placing this ram here, and we've realized that this ram mount is too high. And also these cutouts here for the ram mount are too small. There we go. All right, there's what it looks like before we slide it back under the vehicle. We'll get this under there and then continue getting the steering set up. Right after I had finished the panhard bar, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna move on to the coilovers. And then I thought, no, let's take some time and make this right. And I'm glad I did, because if you look under here now, there is tons of space. There it is. There's the driver's side. And there's the passenger side. This is still pretty tight on the fender. The more I think about it, the more I think that going the bump stop route is gonna be the right thing to do. I did exactly what I did on the other side, and totally clears. All right, guys, well, I think I finally got all the wires routed over to this side of the vehicle. You can see I routed them along the firewall here in this split loom. I was able to get this tube through here just barely. It's a really snug fit, but it's almost like it was made to go through the FJ frame. And so what I'm left with here is a nice splined end sticking out of the frame. Pretty awesome, huh? I was trying to get my anti-rock sway bar installed, but I had those long, straight arms on the sway bar and they weren't working. So I actually called up Rock Jock, and they sent me out some new arms. They allowed me to exchange the old ones, even though I ordered them months ago. And these ones are much better. Well, there you go. I built a box, and it covers the wheel well. So that's basically its function. So, to gain more clearance, I've got these JBA headers. They're obviously much shorter, and I will be using these instead of the factory exhaust manifolds and cat assemblies. And just like that, through the magic of YouTube, there you have it. 2 sensors. It's all wrapped up. My new build colors are going to be gray and orange, and of course black on some things, but I'm gonna be building in a bunch of gray and orange, and I think that'll be a pretty cool color scheme. Here's the line coming down from the factory, steel line down to here. This is an absolutely rock solid connection right there with this clip. It's perfect. I really like how the line angles back, so it's going to clear the coil over. There we go. And again, I'm totally sold. This is awesome. I think it's great. And to get all that access back, all I got to do is pull these 4 screws out, and I've got total access to the Atlas again. And here's that pressure line on the other side from the pump going into the orbital valve. This is the line out to the cooler. These are the 2 lines to the left and right side of the ram. All right, guys, like I said, it's done. And I'm not just talking about those lines, I'm talking about this build. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. It's been quite a journey. For those of you who have stuck with me through the entire thing, thank you so much, and I hope to reward you shortly with some cool trail videos. As always, if you enjoyed this video, give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already, so you can join me every Monday and Thursday, and we'll see you next time.